I am so happy to get the chance to visit with you. Thank you for having some time for me today. I appreciate it greatly. I guess just to start off, let's talk about Queen Esther, because you are in Branson. You just finished seeing this production, and I know that the locals and our visitors who are preparing to come to see this production would love to hear what you had to say about the show.
Well, it's spectacular. It just is. The scope, the breadth and scope of the production is just phenomenal. And what was even more staggering was going backstage. I was so happy that I could, do that and see just what, obviously, being in the business myself, I kind of have an idea of what's going on back there. But to see the size and scope of the backstage, let alone what was in front of the screen, it's truly, spectacular is the word that comes to mind, and it's a wonderful ensemble effort. It's visually, and the sound is, it's everything that it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend it.
Now, as an actor who has also been thrust into the world of a biblical narrative with The Chosen, did you respond well to the storyline with Queen Esther as you were seeing the actors bring it to life on stage?
Well, yes, actually, it's interesting. I am a Zoroastrian by birth, and the Zoroastrian community is originally from Persia. And Xerxes and Darius and Cyrus, all those people are my ancestors. So, in a way, it was really wonderful to watch that and watch it come to life. I know the story of Esther, and it's, the production has taken some liberties, and just as The Chosen has taken some liberties with with the narrative, the characters, giving them skin and bones instead of cardboard, two-dimensional characters. We see these characters really come to life, and that is wonderful. There's nothing to replace that. You get sucked into the story. It was wonderful.
Now, I've been really following this very closely as somebody who loves film, somebody who loves TV series, and living in a state that has gone several years without a tax production incentive. Missouri has passed theirs. That is going to be going into effect very soon. So, of course, I do have to ask, do you see yourself coming to Missouri for any future projects if those become available to you?
I am actually, just before The Chosen, I had chosen to retire and see this country. And I bought an RV, and I just took my dog and traveled the country for 4.5 years. I lost my dog, and 2 weeks after that, after I put her down and it was not going well, I got this offer, I got this script, and I started to read it, and it was certainly the best written role that was offered to me, and on screen, and it was right there, and I thought, this timing is perfect. I need something to take my mind off of that and immerse myself in this. It was really, very well written script. I had no idea what it was going to become. It was the first season, and it hadn't even aired yet. So, it was just doing it for the sake of the work. Which I think is always a good way to approach work, rather than thinking, oh, this is going to be something grand, bigger than I think that takes your eye off the ball and just sort of keeping it right on the character, the script, the story, and all that. And I thought Dallas did a is doing a great job with that.
Yeah.
You know? And it's always a joy to work with a writer-director because that's the source. You know, any questions, any problems, you can go right there and you can talk to the person. You know, and say, what does this mean? What's the significance of that? What, you know, fill me in on this. Why am I saying that? All those things. If I say that, can I put it this way in my own words? It's awkward. You know, just little things like that. It's a joy. So, yeah, that was a pleasure.
It's
So, sorry.
absolutely wonderful.
I didn't even answer your
But
question.
no, it's a wonderful answer. But back to Missouri.
Yes. Will I come back or take advantage of these incentives? I hope to, because I at the time I was trying to put together a documentary on. Well, the working title was "The Milk of Human Kindness," and I was interested in this concept of kindness. You know, we all claim to be kind, but what does that entail, really? You know, and the significance of that word, I think, is thrown around all too easily and without really taking time to sit and think, wait, am I really a kind person to all, at all times?
Yeah.
You know, now that is a goal to be. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but I want to pick that up now that COVID's over, and I don't have an RV, but I've got a little van, a travel van, so now I'm even more mobile, and I hope to, you know, travel crisscross the country like I was, and talking to people, just random people, and see where that conversation takes us. You know? So I'm really looking forward to that.
Awesome. Now, I just looking at your various roles, your credits, just you've spanned so many genres from action and comedy and drama throughout your just tremendous career, and it got me thinking, you know, you kind of evened it up. I mean, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. Do you have a preference where you went? I mean, were you going to where the job was, or did you kind of ever have a moment where you go, man, if whatever comedy comes my way, that's what I'm going to jump on, or action, mystery, or drama? But was there any time in your career where you're just like, oh man, those are the projects that I really am craving?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, when I started in theater in New York, my focus was the classics because I felt like, I mean, I'm talking late 70s, early 80s, where, you know, people like, you didn't see people that looked like me on stage, you know, or even in TV and film. So I felt my niche was with the classics. I was very comfortable with Shakespeare and Chekhov, and I felt that you know, that would sort of cover the look, if you will, you know. And it, for a large part, that did sort of give me my entree into the business.
Yeah.
And once I got my foot in the door, then I started trying to bust out. And the minute I started to get typecast in any way, shape, or form, I would really make a very concerted effort to break that type and go somewhere else. So if I was playing a serial killer, the next job I'd be on my agents. It's like, I like a comedy, you know. I'd really love to do a comedy, you know, just to keep it. I'm not sure in the grand scheme of things whether that is advantageous. I wouldn't necessarily give that advice to an actor, you know, starting out, because I think it kind of confuses people. Casting, you know, the casting community. It's like, where do we put him? I'm not, you know, and then this. So I don't know, but I just knew I didn't want to be typecast.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, like if I was playing heavy drama,
Yes.
First thing I would look for in the script would be comedic parts, you know, the lighter elements.
Yeah.
And if I were playing a comedy, I'd look for the darker elements, you know, to try to get, because it's all full of character, isn't it? I mean, you can't just hold me one level. So, and I think those highs and lows help define the character, give it some depth. So yeah, I kind of went project by project, you know. But come 2001, 9/11, 9/12, 2001, all of a sudden I became very typecast in a very small, tight little box that I didn't want to be in at all, you know. I didn't want to play a terrorist.
Yeah.
You know, bad guy is one thing, I love that, but I didn't want to play a terrorist because of the religious implications and, you know, being an immigrant, I just couldn't get myself to go there.
Yeah.
You know?
Understandable.
So, some people, a lot of people were like, what do you mean? You know, they're offering you hard cash here, you know? So it was a fight with agencies and stuff like that. So that was the box that I couldn't break, you know?
I wanted to ask you, I'm sure you've shared this many times before, but how did you find your way into the industry? What drew you to wanting to be an actor and wanting to, you know, be on stage and in front of the camera and, you know, share your talents with the world? What kind of led you down this path?
I never wanted to be in front of the camera.
Okay,
I don't particularly like the camera. I don't think the camera's terribly kind to me. But I love being on stage, and I started doing that at a very early age. In fact, a couple of months ago, I was sorting through stuff, and I found a photograph of myself, and I had to be 6 at best. And I'm sitting in my shorts and my school tie and my blazer, and this little kid sitting on this chair, and I was pontificating at 6, you know. I'm looking at this photograph and thinking, what's wrong with this kid? You know? He's gonna end up in a van down by the river. And sure enough, that's what I'm doing now. But I just loved it, and came from a tradition. My family owned movie theaters, and my great-grandfather was a theater producer. That I didn't realize all of this till much later. I thought I was sort of the rebel of the family, you know, and going out. Now someone else did it already. But yeah, I was drawn to the stage, and I went to Hollywood on a 2-week vacation. It was between shows. I just closed a show, and I was due to go to rehearsal for another one in 3 weeks. It was time on my hands, but I couldn't really do anything else with it. I thought, you know, I haven't taken a vacation in an awful long time. And there's this friend of mine, an actor friend of mine, who got sick and tired of me not being LA, since I've never even been there. He said, come out here, check it out. And I was surprised at how pretty it was. And, you know, and it was nothing like I imagined. For some reason, I thought of, I don't know, just this industrial wasteland of, you know, concrete highways and, you know, traffic and so. But no, it was pretty, and I went out for an audition and I booked it, and I was waiting to do that. I was sent out on another audition and I booked that, and I thought, oh my God, this is like taking candy from a baby here, you know. And moved to LA, and 25 years later, I realized I'm done. You know, I didn't think I would be, but I feel like I've done what I needed to do to satisfy my goals, you know, and I realized that there's a lot out there that I've been missing out on, and I want to take advantage of that now.
For sure.
Yeah, there's life.
Yeah. 100%.
There is life. Yeah.
So I guess there's no point in me asking, what feature projects you have in the works then. So you got this documentary you want to do.
Yeah. I'm it's still kicking around in my head because my first attempt failed miserably. I felt I wasn't really soliciting or asking the right questions. So I've been thinking a lot about that. And not being a documentarian, it's arrogant of me to think I could just go out and make one. But I'm willing to put the time in and I've been looking at some old footage and there is stuff there. So it's given me hope after all these years now to come back to it. Because COVID really did disrupt.
Yeah.
I couldn't do this.
Oh, yeah.
And this is what it takes, is this conversation, as opposed to a pre-recorded statement or, hey, what do you think about kindness? Oh, I love kindness. Kindness, it doesn't say anything, So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. That, and, it's something that I feel is different and challenging for me, and I really want to take it up. I think it's even more. I've written and directed a movie that I produced as well, and I enjoyed that immensely, especially the writing part of it. I really loved it. Having done that, now I want to take something from real life and craft that and try to make some sense of what I'm gleaning from all this footage that I'm going to amass. So it's exciting.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Just the excitement, just seeing the smile on your face when you're talking about kindness and if you were to meet any of my friends, kindness is something that's very important to me. Like it's effortless to be kindness, but there's such a impactful thing behind the effort of being kindness and being kind. So no, that's such a special project.
It's
I'm
really
excited.
interesting. We've all experienced that moment of something maybe even insignificant, but you were touched by the kindness of the other person and what it did for you, right?
Yeah.
And yet, we don't seem to take that, I shouldn't say we, but so many of us don't really think about that enough to then pay it forward, And I think if we did, if we really thought about those moments that people have shown us kindness that they didn't have to do, and how it impacted our lives, maybe changed our lives, and then go from there and now try to pay it forward. And I think that's what I hope to achieve with the documentary. But of course, the golden rule of documentary is never hope for an end result. You gotta wait to see what goes. But I'm interested in seeing what comes out of it.
No, the enthusiasm you have for this, that's awesome. That's very exciting. And I was going to ask you feature project-wise because one of my favorite films that you are in, and it's probably by far one of the films that people don't think of when they think of the top Adam Sandler films, but that's Mr. Deeds. I was very much hoping to ask you the potential of a sequel of getting to see Cecil Anderson again and seeing him run his own Wendy's Frosty Enterprise.
There you go.
Because honestly,
Adam, are you listening?
I mean, dude just got his Kennedy Award. What's he got going on?
Right.
He's got this 9-picture contract with Netflix. Let's get a Mr. Deeds 2 going.
There you go. You can squeeze it in there.
So, I do have to ask because it is one of my favorite films with you in it. Can you just maybe tell me a little bit about that experience?
It was a blast. It was everything I could have hoped for in terms of fun, enjoyment, the locations, and it was just a really tight group of people. And it comes from the top, you know. And he's got a great support team that he's known for years, you know, and they work seamlessly together, and to be included in that was just a real joy and a lot of fun. And I had a blast with them.
Now, when you were filming in the helicopter, were you guys actually in a helicopter flying, or was that like a great? Okay, because I mean, since I saw that scene, I was like, man, that's like the height of luxury, eating Wendy's in a helicopter, flying over the city. Like that's all. That's like the height of luxury.
Actually, he ad-libbed that moment.
Really?
Yes. We got Wendy's in. We're just sitting there, and you know, and I talked to, you know, because we're in wardrobe, you know, so you got to watch that, and you love that, and he'd always call me Anderson anyway, you know. But, hey, Anderson. One time he tells me, he knocks on my door and he gets me out of my trailer. Anderson, follow me. So where are we going? He just come with me. And we go to his trailer and we walk in, and there are about 4, 5, 6 teenage boys, clearly cancer patients, you know, shaved heads. And he was doing this thing for Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Wow.
And all of a sudden in his trailer, and he walks in, and he looks at one of them and he goes, "Hey, Baldy!" Everyone's like, you know. He looks at Adam and he says, "I want you to meet my Baldy friend here. Anderson, meet me." And they just loved it, you know. And it just broke the ice, and they you could just see him, you know. He's great with that. He's just got a really good heart. Talk about kindness, you know. There's the guy. There's the guy, yeah. And, you know, you can be goofy and silly and whatever, but he puts a lot of thought into it. He works really hard, but the whole team really works really hard. Take care of the script, you know, and so it's a joy. Yeah. And you know you're in good hands.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Any, you know, final words, anything, you know, from your career, from your life that you just, you know, feel would benefit readers, benefit anybody watching, that you would just like to share words of wisdom, if you will?
Well, you know, I'm the wrong person for that, you know. Made a lot of mistakes in my life, which I don't regret. But, you know, I think the words I'm telling myself now is, it's a big, beautiful world out there, and there are a lot of wonderful people. And relationships are, you know, I sought relationships on stage or in a script, you know, but to have real relationships with real people is really something, you know, and it's just people I meet out on the street, or you know, rest area off the highway, or you know, just anywhere. Such interesting people that I would normally not have anything to do with. You know, our lives wouldn't cross. We probably don't see eye to eye on a lot of different things, but when we come together and have a moment and share some ideas, you know, I live for that now.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that relationships, I think, in one word, is what I'm after. And beauty. I mean, I love nature. You know, I grew up in a very, very beautiful part of the world, and my soul needs it. You know, mountains, rivers, forests, down that. You know, seek just honest connection with people.
Yeah.
Family, you know. I was too busy when I was working, you know. So now I want to take that time and get to know my family and you know, give them some memories. So that's what I'm about right now.
Yeah.
And I feel a bit of an urgency, you know, you know, to get on with that and live life.
Yeah. Well, you are fixing to have a birthday, if I'm not mistaken. So happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for taking some time for me. This has been an absolute honor and pleasure.
Tim, it's been a pleasure.
Visit with you. Thank you, and I wish you all the best as you continue to have your experiences and relationships and beauty.
Thank you. And
Thank you,
same
sir.
to you, buddy. Thank you.